Hey, what's up my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening and their ascension process. Today I'm going to talk about why it's so common to feel overwhelmed and unproductive many times throughout the course of your journey, and also why that is not, at least in the way I choose to frame it, which has been the case for myself, it's not a bad thing. Rather, it's a good thing. It's a good sign. It's even the seeming unproductivity is actually a sign of quick progress. And I'm making this video now, we're in August of 2017, a fairly hyped up, energetic period, astrologically speaking. And many people, I know in the past when there would be a lot of hype on a certain gateway or a month or an eclipse or something, oftentimes what's mentioned are the eventual benefits of going through it. But then the mistake I made was that I would look forward to these times and dates thinking that the benefits that eventually would result would be immediate. And I would fail to realize that oftentimes the acquiring of those benefits by going through the energetic storm, basically, it's not exactly easy. But in that lack of understanding, I would judge myself harshly and feel like I'm missing something and I'm just not doing a good job. And it's just very common during this time, more in alignment with this video specifically, it's common to kind of go into such an event or a time with certain intentions and then feel like we're letting ourselves down when we're just not really keeping up with the agenda and plans and expectations we had in mind. But even in spite of that, as I'm mentioning, it's just a misunderstanding, and it's still good, it's still positive, the benefits are in the mail, and a simple mindset shift can make all the difference. So an analogy that comes to mind that I think will help paint this picture more clearly, even though I'm pretty sure it's pretty self-explanatory. I know for me, having a story or a metaphor oftentimes helps a lesson sink in, so I'm going to share it anyways. As many of you know, I bring it up in a lot of my videos. For a long time, I was dying to get to San Diego. And I put in all this energy, like all this stuff, and after years of longing and doing and going through shifts, there was finally a date on the calendar when we were to leave. And I looked forward to that date as if my life was never going to be the same. I knew and that's basically true. But I looked forward to that date in a big way. But in a sense, what happened on that date? On that date, it wasn't as if we just appeared in San Diego. We got in the car and we drove across the whole country through the winter. We experienced times of being stuck up in the mountains where it was icy and snowy and super freakishly dangerous. We did our best to avoid these sorts of scenarios, but a couple times it was fairly unavoidable. And we were at one point driving through, I don't know, I want to say part of Arizona or something. And it was a situation where we were hoping to kind of avoid the storm that was coming, but we didn't. We were unable to be fast enough, so we were like smack dab in it. I remember it was late at night, driving like freaking 20 miles an hour or less on ice in the mountains. It was dark. I was freaking out. It was horrifying. But looking at the weather, it was just going to get worse, and there was nowhere to stay. We couldn't stay with our RV in the winter sort of conditions. We had to kind of trudge forward. And anyway, that experience kind of sums up the whole crazy rite of passage sort of trip it took us to get out here. And then when we finally got out here to California, you would think that, oh wow, you made it, now you can start celebrating. But no, once we made it through the storm, that portal, that window, we were unsettled. We didn't know the area. We didn't know what we had to like redo. We just had to really. It was a big move with kids. It took us over a month to finally settle in and figure things out and iron out the kinks. And then maybe a month or two after that, we finally could exhale. And then all the things that I associated with being in San Diego finally manifested and came to be present in my reality, but it was quite a process. And that's kind of how it is with these big gateways. A lot of people have been saying, hey Vic, look this up, check it out, do you know this is happening? And I don't read into that because I just feel the energy in the present, but I do understand it's a very potent time we're living in astrologically in August here of 2017. But what a lot of people I'm talking to are experiencing is this overwhelm, this feeling of being overwhelmed by life, the rate of life. It's often a mixed bag of things. Some things are going very well and there's these new things coming into their life, but they're also feeling tired and bogged down, and it's a lot of people, myself included, this is me as well, feeling very like I'm fluctuating wildly. 1 or 2 days I'll be feeling like $1 million, and then I'll be feeling just really depressed for no reason, and then I'll be feeling good again, and then I'll be feeling exhausted, and it's been like this spin cycle I've been in. But now, anyway, as a result, my productivity has not been what I would have hoped for, but I don't judge this as bad. I say, wow, all this is happening. This must mean something, that there really is something pretty profound going on. It is a big shift, but I don't kid myself and think that because the time has in a sense arrived that it's going to all of a sudden be roses. It's not like that. I suspect that like in September or something, we'll finally have had a chance to integrate a lot of the lessons we're learning now, and the energy will settle, and then a lot of the benefits that are kind of connected to this gateway will be more manifest. But in the meantime, if you're feeling overwhelmed and unproductive, that's fine. It means you're doing a lot of transforming. And you're doing a good job, contrary to appearances. And now I'm going to go and get a little bit more specific with the original title of the video. I'm going to share 3 different reasons it's actually a good sign when you're feeling this way, overwhelmed by the awakening and consequently unproductive. 1, a lot of times these sorts of energy periods, these heightened energy periods, they rattle you, they shake you to the core through life scenarios, through emotional upheaval, through mental lack of mental control of your thoughts and reactions. Your behaviors might be erratic at times. You might feel out of control. But that sucks, obviously. But what comes out of that? Oftentimes, deep, profound, and life-changing personal insights stem from that. There's the bigger the chaos, the more chaotic you're feeling, the more challenging and unexpected life scenarios you're going through, the more potential there is to reap a a profound, life-changing benefit. One thing that comes to mind, one of the themes I've been noticing with my coaching clients is many of them have been saying they're struggling with financial blocks and struggling to really manifest enough money to feel secure. And this is something I dealt with for a long time, way longer than I would have wanted. And it was maybe the most stressful period of my awakening in life, honestly. What I explained to them is that when put in that kind of situation, it forced me to really look deeply into like, why? What is the real problem? Okay, you're not really affording your lifestyle. So what are you actually afraid of? You're afraid of, calling the credit card company and saying I can't pay my bill, or watching the interest rack up? Or is it that I'm embarrassed and I feel like a failure? Am I actually afraid of starving to death and running out of food? Not so much. And not only that, what it forced me to do, it forced me to really rise to my potential, and just in existing within that turmoil with an inquisitive mindset, gleaning in a slew and abundance of personal insights. As shitty as that was, the after effects have been life-changing on all levels for me. And now in retrospect, I'm very happy to have gone through it. So that, again, that's just one kind of tangent example of how much we can learn about ourselves through going through a challenge. And then, now that I've gone through that, I'm still pretty young, and I can take that wisdom, that experiential wisdom that you can get not from a book, you must go through it. I can now, that's always there. That doesn't go away. That stays with me like a notch on my belt, like a tattoo. And it influences in a positive way everything I do from that point forward. Number 2 is our big breakthroughs. Sometimes when the energy feels fast and potent and unpredictable and shakes you up, a lot of times, not even just a psychological degree of personal insight, it can be an actual breakthrough in your life that stems out of nuttiness. I'm trying to think of a good example, but I know this has happened to me dozens of times. I'll give one example that comes to mind. When I was, a long time ago, I moved many times, so I try not to be too confusing. There was, actually, I'm living in an RV now, and this is kind of recent. There was the first time I moved into an RV. This is the time where previous to that, my life was very solid. I had a personal training, a small personal training business where I would go to people's homes and also train them in my house. And we had a nice big, pretty much brand new house my father-in-law bought us. And our life on paper was magical. I was in my early 20s. We had just had my daughter. And it was a real easy kind of life. Didn't have to really worry about much. It was all, again, just pretty, not so much fulfilling as much as it could have been, which is why we chose to leave that safety net, but it was pretty easy breezy. Anyways, we are getting the guidance. At that time, we are newly awakened, newly aware of the energies and the Illuminati and all kind of crazy shit. And it was like, we knew that we didn't want to live where we lived, but we didn't really consider very seriously the possibility of leaving and moving out of my house, because it was like, dude, we didn't have to pay for it. It's so nice. This would be totally stupid to leave. We couldn't do it, we thought. It just, as much as we felt on like an intuitive level, which we were kind of new to, we are new to our intuition speaking to us so loudly and bluntly. We weren't just so quick to listen to it. Anyways, shit started to happen. Our house got fleas, horribly infested with fleas. Not a huge deal, obviously, but that does get under my wife's skin a lot. But there was one thing that kind of, it was a straw that broke the camel's back. One time, my dog, I had a couple dogs at the time. One of them was a pit bull, a very awesome dog. But my neighbor, apparently, come to find out, has a real thing for pit bulls. And there was a situation where we were hanging out inside, and I heard the neighbor yelling and like flipping out. So I run out there to see what's going on. He's like going nuts, yelling at my dog. He kicked my fence in. Turns out this doofus brought like another dog over to the fence, and my dog and him kind of got into a scuffle. Nothing too crazy. Pardon me 1 second, I'll just wait a second here. Cars driving by. Anyways, what stemmed out of that was the awareness that my neighbor's a freaking whack job. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased, because he, kicked after my dog. It wasn't just that. It was kind of what transpired afterwards, seeing how he responded to that situation. Did all sorts of crazy shit. Anyways, there's rumors that surface that this guy is known for killing straight up poisoning dogs and stuff. So at that time, me and my wife, even though we still love our dog, prior to having kids, they were like our kids, and we just had so much love for them that we were willing to move for our dog, and we did. That was that craziness, that insanity. In the mix of all that, there was a lot of intense emotions, a lot of fear, like, oh my goodness, our neighbor has it out for our dog. He's not safe here. They eventually, they did all sorts of wild shit. I'm not going to go into that, but they did a lot of really unbalanced things for adults towards us. And it was just incredibly uncomfortable and tumultuous, just on all levels. But there was a breakthrough. The breakthrough was us deciding to sell our house and get the hell out of there. And that was like the start of our hero's journey. It was the start of our awakening journey, which has led us here in a very roundabout way to a place that is just incomparable to our old life on all levels. But we might have never taken that made that hard decision, if not provoked sufficiently by the energetics that are underneath the circumstances that cause us to alter our lives in very positive ways, even though at the time you don't really know that. Thirdly, is these kinds of times really reveal to you what you're actually made of. Some people I work on with them, my clients, with their doubt, their self-doubt. And I don't so much have them like sit around, like write out their doubts. I say, let's do things that challenge you so that you overcome them and prove to yourself that it does not make sense to doubt because you've done it. You have the physical, actual experience of your own power, of your own capabilities. And even if you fall and stuff, I'm gonna be there to kind of help you through these things enough to where you rack up that essential experience that cannot be learned from a YouTube video or a book or sitting and meditating. These types of experiences, they give you experience. Raw, usable experience that you can draw upon for the rest of your life. And a lot of us want the effect. We want to be the master. We want to be the enlightened, the illustrious one. We want to be a healer. But we have to become that. And the most efficient way to become that is to go through stuff like this. These stormy, energetic times that really just reveal our true light to our conscious mind. So yeah, you're overwhelmed, you're unproductive, who gives a shit? Look at all the benefits you're getting. You're earning your stripes. And you will look back at these tough times. The tougher the times, the more you will benefit from them, and you will look back and be thankful for every single one of them, no matter what it is. So that is what I have to share about that topic, everyone. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your continued support. I'll see you on the flip side. Namaste.